Afternoon, year 11, last one to go, probably the most difficult one, the one that if it comes up, everyone's going to make an absolute mess of, but it's Germany after World War II. So everything in Germany from 1945 to 1990. Now, we know this period's called the Cold War. It is also the bit where Germany splits, becomes two Germanys effectively, East and West, or East and West side as we call them in lesson, which is the Democratic West Germany, known as the FRG, versus the East Germany, which is known as GDR, which is communist. Hopefully I've talked enough about that now, but that's basically what happens between 1945 and 1990. Now, first thing we need to look at really at the end of World War II is the Yalta and Potsdam conferences, which if you've been in Mr. Howden's lesson, he's probably spoke about it for at least 3 weeks and you probably don't remember any of it, as is usually the case. He does it every year. But really, Yalta and Potsdam Conference do one of a couple of things, really. They split Germany. They agree on who's going to have what. That's basically the long and short of what Yalta and Potsdam are all about. The Soviets decide they're going to take reparations, whereas the West decide they're going to join their zones together. And they're basically going to make a West Germany, it's going to be capitalist, and it's going to be aligned to America, etc., etc. Potsdam Conference gets a little bit more complicated. The Americans announced the use of the atomic bomb because obviously the leaders change. They want to put pressure on the Soviets just to kind of as a warning, because obviously we know the Soviets have been taking over all the countries that are close to Germany, like Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, etc., making them communist. So that really is the end of World War II, sets up what is effectively the Cold War. Now, we also know that in terms of Germany, another one of the big things that happens at Yalta and Potsdam is the Nuremberg trials, or denazification. That's really important for both sides, is to hold the Nazis responsible for what went on in Germany and hold trials of the leading Nazis, the one that they can catch and find. Okay, so that is really what Yalta and Potsdam are all about. They set up the division of Germany. That is what kind of tees it up, is that conference. Now, the first major thing to happen really between the East and the West is a Berlin airlift. 1948-49, massive event takes place where basically the West introduces a new currency. Stalin responds by blocking all road and rail links in and out of Berlin. So the Soviets basically airlifting supplies. If you heard that, that was just our PGC dropping a bottle of water on a desk. We'll try and edit it out, but I haven't got the skills, so that'll have to stay. So basically, we end up with supplies being airlifted in every 90 seconds for a period of a year. And the reason that they do that is they don't want to move the Soviet road and railway, the blockade off the roads and railways, because basically that'd be an active war. So the Berlin airlift is the first big event between the two. Big thing to remember, it makes relationships between East and West a lot worse. Okay, so Berlin airlift first thing. After that, we are looking at the West becomes the side to live in. They join the ECSC, they also join the EEC, they borrow money from America in the form of Marshall Aid, and things like smokestack industries are redeveloped by this fellow up here called Konrad Adenauer. So the West undergoes an economic miracle, becomes one of the best places to live in Western Europe. Basically, it's using American money to pay for it, but it becomes somewhere where you get consumer goods, there's high-end vehicles, there's high-end industries being formed. It's much better than the East, which is communist, miserable. The Soviets, we know, are taking reparations out of it. There are very few consumer goods. Wages are equal and low unemployment, but other than that, the East side is the side that people do not want to live in. So you may get asked questions about the two different sides, what life's like in the East versus what life's like in the West, but that's really, in a nutshell, all you need to know. Now, the next major event is here. So I like to think of Germany 1945 to 1990 as being split into two big incidences in Berlin. So you've got the Berlin airlift first of all. Second, you've got the Berlin Wall. Now, obviously, the Berlin Wall is built because lifestyles between the two sides are growing further apart. In the East, it's getting worse. In the West, it's getting better. What does everybody do? Everybody continually tries to leave. So the Soviets, in the end, to try and stop the kind of brain drain of workers leaving from East to West, build a wall. I think it's something like 250,000 people leaving the year before the wall was built. And people still keep trying to go. And obviously that zone that you can see in the middle there is where a number of people, including the famous one from Peter Fechter, are shot trying to escape from east to west. So 1961, another major event in the Cold War, making relationships between the two sides even worse, is the building of the Berlin Wall. Okay, after that, we then have these two individuals here. So we have Willy Brandt. So in the 1670s, 80s, into the 90s, relationships start to slowly but surely improve. And that's a kind of reflection on what's going on in the wider Cold War. USA and the USSR are getting on better. So in Germany, they used the opportunity to try and bring the two sides closer together. Willy Brandt does something called Ostpolitik, which improves relationships by having conversations and trade. That then leads into Helmut Kohl, who is often seen as the man who brings together reunification. Okay, so, and obviously the knocking down of the Berlin Wall in 1990. So that is, in a nutshell, what you need to know across that period there.